Welcome to Real World Peaceful Parenting, a podcast for parents that are tired of yelling, threatening, and punishing their kids. Join mom and master certified parent coach Lisa Smith as she gives you actionable, step-by-step strategies that'll help you transform your household from chaos to cooperation. Let's dive in.
Hey there, welcome to today's episode. Let me tell you, I could not be more excited to bring you today's topic on strong-willed kids. Now, being a strong-willed person might have some very specific traits or adjectives associated with a strong-willed person. They're sometimes called headstrong, confident, stubborn, bossy, assertive, independent, and demanding. You feel me? A strong-willed person can also solve problems on their own and speak up for themselves, and they love challenges. My 16-year-old son epitomizes this 100%. Since he was born, we have called him a full contact sport, and he is the reason why I am a parent coach today and have this podcast. He is my greatest teacher, and in today's episode, Malcolm generously gives us a front row seat into the mind, the actions, the attitude, and the approach of a strong-willed kid. I hope you enjoy listening to this as much as I enjoyed interviewing him. The goal today is to inspire you, especially if you have a strong-willed kid. The goal is to give you hope, and who knows, you might even walk away with a couple tips, tools, or ideas to use with your strong-willed kid or kids. I hope you enjoy the episode. I am so excited to welcome today's guest to our podcast. I can hardly talk without a big, giant smile on my face. I am so excited to welcome my son, Malcolm Smith, as a very special guest to Real World Peaceful Parenting. Welcome, Malcolm.
Well, it's great to be here. I'm Malcolm. I'm Lisa's son. I'm 16 years old, and one of my favorite hobbies is basketball.
Awesome. So, Malcolm, tell us, what else do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, I like to drive, hang out with friends, and play video games.
You're a big gamer, yeah?
I am a big gamer. I love it.
You do really love it. Basketball, gaming, and friends, probably your top three, yeah?
Yeah, probably.
Hanging out with mom and dad at this phase in your life, not so much.
Not really, no.
Okay, Malcolm, so here's the big question. Do you consider yourself a strong-willed kid?
Yes, I do.
Tell us what that's like. Parents really, really, really want to crawl inside the mind of a typical strong-willed kid. So first of all, tell us, how do you define strong-willed kid? And then what's it like being one?
Well, I think being a strong-willed kid has something to do with being competitive and always wanting to win. So, like, for example, you always want to argue and win the argument, or you want to do it your way because you think your way is the best. Yeah, I think that thinking about being a strong-willed kid, you want to always defy your parents, and also you just always want to win in everything you do in life.
What's that defying your parents about, do you think?
For example, like if your parents say, "Oh, go brush your teeth in 5 minutes." Being a strong-willed kid, you'd probably do it in 7 minutes or 10 minutes because you rather have control of the argument over the parent.
I always teach parents that strong-willed kids don't like to be forced to comply. Does that sound about right?
Exactly. You always want to do it the hard way versus the easy way if your parents suggest it.
And be in charge, right? You want to be, I say to parents, the number one thing strong-willed kids want to feel is in control of themselves and their surroundings.
Correct.
So if I said to you, go brush your teeth now, you just instantly don't want to do it, yeah?
Exactly. I don't feel like doing that right now.
I tell the story, Malcolm, to parents all the time. You probably heard me say it through the walls, and that your favorite food in the whole world is Oreo cookie ice cream. And if you woke up in the morning and I said, you will have Oreo cookie ice cream for breakfast this morning, you'd be like, no, I'm not. I'm not having it. And you would not have it just because you don't want to be told what to do.
Yeah, that's true. It's happened multiple times. It's true.
All
Yeah.
right. So, what does success feel like as a strong-willed kid?
Well, I think for thinking about small battles, I feel like success is like winning an argument or like, you know, doing well on like a test or something that your parents haven't helped you with. I think a lot of strong-willed kids want to see success on their own and not help externally with other people. And I think like big achievements, like making a team or something, they feel good because, you've worked really hard for them and you've wanted to see this outcome for a very long time, but you haven't really felt like the need to ask for help, so you did it on your own. And because you made that team, it feels a lot better.
Mm, yeah. I know for you personally and many strong-willed kids, it's really about experiential learning, right? Figuring it out for yourself.
Yes.
My guess is you'd rather do it yourself and win or do it yourself and lose than have someone help you do it.
Exactly.
Why does that feel so important? I'm so fascinated with this.
I feel like it's just this feeling I get when I am doing it on my own. It feels a lot better. And also, I feel like when you do it on your own, when you achieve that goal, it's like, wow, I really finished that by myself. I didn't need any help. And I think that feels really good for somebody like me.
Mm. Do strong-willed kids tend to be friends with more strong-willed kids, or do they tend to attract non-strong-willed kids? What would you say about the majority of your friends? Are they more easygoing?
I have a little bit of both. I feel like some of my friends are extremely competitive and very strong-willed. Like I can think of one kid right off the top of my head who's extremely strong-willed, and anything I point out to him always has to argue and always has a say in it, and will always get on my back if I say something stupid or something like that. But
Mhm.
also, I have friends that are very easygoing and they'll do whatever you want. So I think there's like a balance between having strong-willed friends and non-strong-willed friends.
Okay. And let's talk about this for a minute because I will never forget this, Malcolm. I will never in my life forget this. One day I was frustrated about something and we're driving down the road and I'm explaining to you, Malcolm, nobody likes to be arguing all the time and battling. And, nobody likes to be having all this conflict. And you looked at me and you said, Mom, that's where you're wrong. Dad and I are perfectly comfortable with arguing and struggling and battling and having conflict all the time. You're the one that's not comfortable with it. Do you remember this?
A little bit, yes.
And I was shocked, Malcolm, because as someone, I am someone who doesn't like conflict. I don't look for it. I don't enjoy it. I will work my way through it, but I don't love it. But for you, you don't mind conflict at all, do you?
No, I mean, like, I've had nights where I've sat on Xbox and argued with friends on video games for 2, 3, 4 hours about something stupid. Like, like who would win, the Golden State Warriors, like the 2016 Golden State Warriors or the 1996 Bulls? Like, we would argue about that.
And it doesn't bother you at all.
No, and I don't think it bothers any one of my friends that talk to me. I think that arguing for me is a way of talking. And because I'm so competitive, I feel like it's kind of like I need to become, everything in my world needs to become a competition in a way. So, yeah.
That's so fascinating to me. My brain, sometimes I struggle to wrap my brain around it, or I have to tell myself, it's okay for us to power struggle a little bit at times because this is just who you are.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the best thing about being a strong-willed kid?
Probably, I feel like being, wanting to win everything and being competitive is probably one of the best things I can
You
get from
love
it.
being competitive, don't you?
I do. And also, I think just in an everyday standpoint, I think being competitive, especially because I play a sport, really helps me because I don't wake up every day saying, "Oh, it's a new day, time to go play some basketball and have some fun." I wake up every day being like, "Oh, today is like a new day, so I should probably get a little bit better at basketball and become better at over another kid and
Mm-hmm.
try to steal his spot on the team, basically."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
So you play. So if, those listening don't know, Malcolm, as he said, he's 16. He plays pretty high level competitive basketball. And I would say not afraid of backing down, take no prisoners, not afraid of conflict or arguing or jumping in on a goal really helps you in your basketball career, wouldn't you say?
yeah, I think another thing that helps becoming a strong-willed kid is like, having the determination to do something. I
Mm-hmm.
think anyone who's strong-willed, if they put their mind to something, they will achieve it 100%. I
Yeah.
think if you put to your mind that you will get an A in every single class, but it's not like your parents tell you, you should make this goal. It like you have to decide it yourself. And if you decide that yourself, you will achieve it.
By the way, feel free to decide that goal at any point.
I will.
I agree with you. And I think that, strong willed humans change the world, right? You and I both know we talk about this a lot, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Michael Phelps, Tom Brady, the GOAT, these are strong willed people that are, another angle of strong willed humans is just incredibly hyper focused, right? Let's talk about this for a moment. You really have the ability when you're interested in something. I think this is another upside of strong-willed kids. I see this a lot in you and in your friends, in your basketball teammates, and in my clients' children, this hyper focus. Talk about this. Like when you're gaming or out on the court, talk about that hyper focus. What is that world like?
Yeah, I mean, like if there's something I enjoy, I will focus on it and look at the time and 4 hours will be by and I'll be like, "Wow, that was quick." And I think that becoming hyper focused is it's really nice to have because like if I'm interested in a school project or something and I really get that hyper focus part, like I will get that project done in half the time I feel like other students will. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
especially I come home every day and I have very to little like I have little homework when I come home. And that's because at school I'm very focused on finishing that schoolwork and I any chance I get to finish that homework, I do. So yeah, I think that has to do with just playing basketball and gaming. That's why I like try to finish my homework as soon as possible. And if you put your mind to something and say, well, if I finish this, then I get to do what I want to do, then I feel like someone would become very focused on that task and finish it a lot quicker than a lot of other people would.
Yeah. I think the downside of hyper focus, Malcolm, is transitions are tough. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I think sometimes when I get off gaming, I get like a little weird. I definitely, if I get really focused on gaming, I need to take like a 30-minute break before I have conversations and start talking to people because I was just like so locked into that like world of gaming that I need to like go lay down for a little bit, maybe watch
Mhm.
a little Netflix or something and just get back to like the real world.
I think that's true when you're like at a tournament and playing intense basketball as well. Typically in the drive home, we don't talk. We just listen to music on the way home, and it takes you kind of the whole drive home to come down from that hyper focus.
Yeah.
I really notice that hyper focus when you're out on the court. Like one of the benefits I see in you is that you can block everything else out, all other distractions, and just focus on whatever you're doing school project, basketball, gaming, running, weightlifting. You have this real keen ability to compartmentalize and block everything else out, including your mother asking you to do things.
Yes. When I'm gaming, that is true.
All right. So we talked about the best thing about strong-willed, the worst thing. What's it like for you when I talk about this all the time, that strong-willed kids don't like to be backed into a corner and they don't want to feel like they're forced to submit to someone else's will. So when you feel like someone is forcing you to submit to their will, what is that like for you?
Well, I shut down. I feel like I'll agree with them, but I'll shut down and not do everything to my best ability to what they've asked. So I think like if I don't know, if a teacher tells me to write a paper with a partner and I want to do it by myself, for example, I feel like I don't do it to the best of my ability because the teacher told me to do it with a partner when I know I would do better if I did it by myself.
Mm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
kind of just get lazy and angry and focused on the wrong things.
Mm.
And yeah, I had a coach who used to tell me to, you know, I have to do this, I have to do this. And I kind of shut down during the season when I was playing with him because I knew that he was wrong and that I knew that our team would be better if I played a certain position in a certain style of basketball, but he would keep telling me to play another style. And because he's the coach, I had to listen to him. So I didn't really play the best basketball when I was playing for that coach.
Yeah. But isn't it true that it was more not the information he was giving you, but how he was presenting it? He wasn't giving you a choice. He wasn't connecting with you. He was demanding cooperation from you. You will do this.
Yeah.
And that's like nails on a chalkboard to you, right?
Yeah. When someone tells me the word will, it really just gets me angry, I would say. Yeah.
Whether it's your mom, your dad, your coach, your teacher, your friend,
Yeah. Anyone.
you hate being told what to do
Yes.
to the point that you will not do it just for the principle of it.
Even if it's something that will help me.
Right? It's
I've
back to
had,
the ice cream thing. You will eat
yeah,
you will eat Oreo ice cream for breakfast. You would be like, "No, I'm not."
exactly.
Are you conscious of it when it's happening?
Yeah. I get extremely angry and I'm like, well, I don't want to do this. I know this is going to be bad for me, so I'm just not going to do it. And then so I think I'm like, oh, well, it could be better for me. And then I switch back and I'm like, well, I don't want to give him the satisfaction of knowing that he helped me or something like that.
Mhm.
It's basically what happens.
So it's entering into a power struggle, right?
Yes.
So what advice do you have for parents if someone is sitting listening to this right now and they're like, "Wow, it's like, Lisa has my kid she's interviewing. That's exactly how my kid behaves." What advice do you have for the parents to create that connection rather than demanding cooperation?
I think a great way to talk to kids about just like doing things and stuff like that is taking them out to lunch or dinner or breakfast and having a conversation with them and like kind of just bringing it up slowly. And I think connecting with kids is a great way. I think that you and we talk daily and like we do, we always ask each other how our day was and everything. And I think if parents would do that on a daily basis with their kids, kids would become more open to suggestions, I
Mm.
feel.
I say that connection, well, I borrowed this from Brene Brown. Connection is when the other person feels seen, heard, and valued. So, what I think you're saying is if the parent is taking the time to make sure the kid feels seen, heard, and valued, connection, then it's easier to open up and discuss solutions rather than the parent commanding solutions.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Do you feel seen, heard, and valued in our family?
I do. I mean, I talk to you and dad daily. We have dinner once a week together at least, like all sitting around the table having discussions. Obviously, during dinner, we have things we don't talk about, but we still connect with each other.
Yes.
Yeah, I
In
think
our
that,
family, we have topics that are off limits at the dinner table, like
yes.
grades, schoolwork, how hard Malcolm's working at basketball, things that are upsetting. We table those And we really just talk about enjoyable topics at dinner. We have political debates and we talk about the stock market and we talk about the NBA. And then there's always the good old Tom Brady discussion, how great he is. Malcolm never minds hearing about how great his mother thinks Tom Brady is. So we really do work hard at staying connected. I have a friend who says her kids don't always get their way, but they always have a say. And I think, Malcolm, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. But I think one of the things that your dad and I do really well is we always make sure you have a say in a situation.
Yeah, I think so too. I think very rarely do I feel ganged up on like it's you guys versus me. I feel like it's kind of like everyone's got their own opinions and they're all different. So we all have a discussion, and it's not like, well, you and dad have an opinion and I have an opinion. It's
Mhm.
always like, well, dad has an opinion, you have an opinion, and I have an opinion, and let's come up with a compromise.
Mhm.
So
So you feel pretty heard in our family.
I do.
What do you think we do well as parents?
Well, obviously, I think you guys do great on making us kids feel heard. I think also every parent has experience because I mean they've grown up, they've gone through childhood. So I think that a parent has a great way of or has a lot of experience and can share that experience with their kids so they don't go down the same rabbit hole as you do. And yeah, I think that
Specifically, what do you think your dad does really well?
um, I think that he shares with me a lot of his like thinking
Mm.
and about stocks, about money, about life, about how to manage a company, about the NBA. And I think all of those things I listen to and I always take in because he's a very knowledgeable man. And I listen to him a lot because of it.
I like that. What's it like having a mom that's a parent coach?
It's interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious about this. We haven't talked about this in a long time.
I always find it funny listening to your like conversations on Zooms for a little bit and being like, hey, didn't she just do that same technique to me last night? And then realizing, oh yeah, she did. And then yeah, I find it really funny.
Do you think I walk my talk?
Yeah, I think you do.
Okay. Do you remember this that I want you to talk about this when you were I think you were in 4th grade and I went on a trip. I went to Thailand for a couple weeks. And when I got home, you were so happy to see me. I
Yeah.
still remember this. You were so happy I was home. And one night dad said, I think it was like the first or second night I was home, dad said to me, "Do you know why Malcolm missed you so much?" And I said, well, I just think, he missed me tucking him in and snuggling him and, being there for him. And Dave said, well, why don't you ask him why he missed you so much? And so I asked you, Malcolm, why did you miss me so much? And you said, because mom, kids need rules and rules help us feel loved and they help us know what's expected. And I mean, for 5th grade, that was pretty wise. Do you remember? You may not
Yeah.
remember this, but talk about rules. Talk about your love hate. Like I would imagine from my chair, you seem to be someone who in the moment hates rules, but then there's a part of you that appreciates what they bring into your life.
Well, yeah. I hate rules. I don't like following them, but I do because rules have a certain structure to them. And I feel rules, especially in family rules, they're not outrageous and they kind of keep you grounded. Rules also make you feel just like, oh, well, I need to do this, but I need to do this because, the rule says it, but not just because of that, because I know it's going to be better for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think as a strong willed kid, rules suck, but they're needed. And I'm not saying crazy rules. Like, I think we have 3 rules in this house. We don't have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of rules.
We don't.
Actually, yeah. But the rules cover a broad topic
Mm-hmm.
and they're all about different things.
I was watching Last Chance U, the basketball season, and one of the coaches said, rules without relationship equals rebellion, the head coach of the East Los Angeles Community College. Rules without relationship equals rebellion. And I feel like with strong-willed kids, you got to have the relationship and the rules. If you try to put rules in place without the relationship, all you're going to get is pushback.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So what advice do you have for parents of strong-willed kids? Give us one thing they should do and one thing they shouldn't do.
One thing they shouldn't do is probably tell the kid you will do this. I think a great way to tell a kid to like go brush your teeth, be like, hey, why don't you go brush your teeth, and I don't know, tomorrow night you can have ice cream or something like that.
Well,
Maybe,
choices, right? Do you want to brush
yeah,
your teeth now or in 5 minutes?
something, yeah. And then I think parents should connect with their kids and set rules in place and talk them over with your kids, because strong-willed kids are going to want to negotiate those rules. So I would probably set a little higher of rules so the kids can negotiate and they feel like they have a say in the rules.
Interesting. What an interesting tactic, Malcolm.
I wonder who I learned that from.
I wonder. But you're saying gain consensus and let the kids have a say in the rules. Don't just come in and say, okay, your bedtime's going to be 9:00. Like say, hey, I'm thinking about setting a bedtime. I'm thinking 8:30. What are you thinking? Then we have some conversation about it. Then we negotiate a little bit. And then we settle upon the ultimate time of 9:00. And then don't you think then that then the parent's real job begins of enforcing the 9:00 bedtime?
Yes.
Because as a strong-willed kid, the kids are going to test the parents every single day, aren't they? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, bedtime is interesting for us in the Smith household. I feel like I always want more time. I feel like I never finish a show on time. So, yeah.
But not just bedtime, though. I feel like one of the things of strong-willed kids is they're going to test parents on every little thing, and you've got to hold the limit. Otherwise, you lose credibility with the kids, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've had teachers and coaches who they don't hold limits like that, and then I just don't like they don't have as much credibility or anything like that with me, and it really just ruins the relationship with the adult and the kid.
Yeah, like let's say a coach says, practices every night at 7:00 or 3 nights a week at 7:00. You need to be on the court shooting baskets, shoes on by 5 to 7, and he saunters in every night at 10 after 7. We've had those coaches, right? You've had those.
Yeah.
And then suddenly being there at 7:00 no longer matters because they're not holding the limit. Or they say 7:00 and a kid comes late. Some kid comes every week late to practice and the coach ignores it.
Yes, exactly.
That really irritates you, does it not?
Yes, it does.
Because rules need to be enforced. If you're going to set the rules, follow through on them.
Exactly.
All right. How do you get kids, strong-willed kids, to do things like get off their phone, stop gaming, brush their teeth, or do their chores? What advice do you have for parents there? Including myself, please advise me.
I would say give them like a time and a list. Be like, at 9:00, I would like you to be off gaming, have your teeth brushed, and be ready for bed. And I think that really helps me. Like you text me over the summer, we had an agreement where if I had chores to do for the day, you would text me those chores in the morning so I could expect those chores. I feel like strong-willed kids hate to be startled with like jobs and stuff. Like when parents come in and be like, can you please do the dishes now? And I'm gaming. It's like, well, I can't do it now, but I can do it in 5 minutes. And I feel like parents get really annoyed at that. So if parents would say, hey, I would like you to go to bed at 9:00. So can you have this, and this done before bed? That would be awesome. And I think it'd be a great way for parents to tell kids what to do.
Rather than being demanding and barking and angry all the time.
Yes.
That's good advice. And what should the parent do if the kid doesn't do it?
We'll say, hey, you didn't do this. What happened? And talk to them. And if they say, well, I forgot, be like, okay, If you forget next time, there'll be a consequence.
Mm.
And let the kid know that, you messed up once. That's okay, but next time there will be a consequence, and you will not like the consequence. So the kid won't mess up again.
Okay. I think that's good. But make it clear.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to end with you asking me 2 questions. Ask me 2 questions because I think people want to know more kind of about how we make this work.
Okay. If you are really angry at me, what do you do?
Good question, Malcolm. Well, the first thing I do is I check in with myself to see if I'm triggered or if I'm regulated, because I try really hard to never, and I don't always get it right, but I think I do a pretty good job of not approaching you until I'm calm and regulated and in my higher brain, so that I'm not feeling out of control and getting into a power struggle. And sometimes I have to wait a while until I feel calm and ready to approach you. But that's the first thing I do.
Okay.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think that you usually step away if I make you angry. That makes me think, oh wow, she's pretty angry. How about I just stop doing what I'm doing and just have a discussion with her? And you come back and we have a nice discussion about something.
Mm-hmm.
And my second and last question is, what do you think about when you want to set like a regulation on bedtime or something like that? What do you do to kind of like negotiate or something like that?
Good question. If I want to put a rule in place, the first thing I think about it for a long time. And I think about a couple things. I think about, why do I want to put this rule in place? What's my reasoning? Because I always want to have a good reason. I grew up in a household where, because I said so was the reason most of the time, and it used to irritate me. And what happened is then it would be, well, why? Why? And it's funny, you hardly ever ask that. And I think it's because I never just say because I said so. Like, you're a human being too. And I really feel like you deserve to understand. You may not grasp it, but you deserve to have the reason behind it explained to you. So the first thing I do is I question, why do I want to put this rule in place? And then I ask myself, what family value of ours does it reflect? And then I ask myself, what are all the areas you're going to push back on it? And where is that conversation going to go? And I try to just really think about what are you going to have issue with? And then does it pass the smell test? That's my process.
Yeah, I think you do a great job of setting regulations because, it's always reasonable. I feel like, and it's not a lot of room to negotiate. It's not outrageous. It's not like you say, all right, bed tonight at 8:00. It's usually like, I'm like, well, what?
Some nights I want to, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, sleep. You and sleep. You hate going to sleep.
I hate it.
But you need it.
I love sleeping, but I hate going to sleep.
Yes, but you lead such an intense lifestyle. You are so busy and on the go and have so much going on that if you don't get your sleep, it's just downhill from there.
Yeah.
All right, Malcolm. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. I love you with my whole heart. I think you're an amazing human being. I'm so proud to be your mom. So proud. And I appreciate you coming on and sharing your thoughts and with parents of strong-willed kids. I know everybody's going to benefit from listening to this. So thanks, Malcolm.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone who's listening. I'm happy to be here, and thanks for having me, Mom.
You're welcome. Bye, bud.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening today. I want to personally invite you to head over to thepeacefulparent.com/welcome and sign up for my free Peaceful Parenting mini course. You'll find everything you need to get started on the path to peaceful parenting just waiting for you over there at www.thepeacefulparent.com/welcome. Can't wait for you to get started.
Thanks for listening to Real World Peaceful Parenting. If you want more info on how you can transform your parenting, visit thepeacefulparent.com. See you soon.